Talking Tottenham, a fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 176 of Talking Tottenham. Bucky, joined as always by the young Daniel Shakes, coming to you live from either a torture chamber, which is essentially my own bedroom anymore as a torture chamber, or a hotel room. Danny Shakes is back on the road, lubing deals and making shit happen. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing great, Bucks. It is a hotel. Good to be on the road again. Not good to be watching Spurs again, just because it's been pretty rough lately. But yeah, thank you for accommodating me. I know we're doing this a day late, and I'm coming to you live on my AirPods, so hopefully we can piece this thing together, unlike Spurs did in the second half against Chelsea.
I actually think the AirPods are a significant improvement from your massive microphone. That is
really
the size of your head.
See my face right here.
Yeah, this is like the face reveal for the viewers out there as he sips his complimentary Ritz-Carlton glass of champagne. Always a pleasure.
Don't divulge where I am, Bucks. Don't divulge.
Well, I'm not telling them where you are. I mean, look at how could anyone identify where you're located right now?
Behind me is the beautiful marina of some Florida town.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the good Florida towns. But we come to you pretty disappointed. 3-0. Got absolutely shellacked by 3-0 for the second consecutive Premier League weekend against Chelsea, who just looked the better team in that second half by leaps and bounds. But I think we'll start with this is what went right in that first half, because I was watching it and the only thing I texted you was Spurs look good, ? Like, I didn't know if they looked good, if it was just in my head, but it looked like a solid squad with the right intentions there. What were your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, for sure. And I agreed with you. I said Spurs do look good. I didn't know if we lucked into this lineup because it was definitely a different one. But when you have Steve out, he's in a walking boot still, it sounds like, and Lucas just couldn't go after getting hurt midweek in the papajohns.com Europa Conference League. We just were forced to put Giovanni Lo Celso on the right side, Kane in the middle, Son on the left, and then Tanguy Ndombele got his first start in the Prem alongside Højbjerg. It was a different looking lineup for Spurs, and Spurs came out on the front foot and pressed, Bucks. I think that's what was different. It's just how high press they were against Chelsea. Chelsea kind of wasn't ready for it at the beginning, but the problem was Spurs did not reap a reward in the form of a goal. Reggie had a great opportunity. He didn't square it the right way to Lo Celso. Son was in after a good through ball by Lo Celso. That didn't work out. Chelsea then made the right changes. They brought in Conte and just smothered Spurs from there. But I kind of went very high level on you there. Sorry, 10,000 foot up what happened in the game. But in the first half, I really think it was the pressing. I just thought it was the fullbacks being pushed up. I thought it was the defensive center halves being pushed up. And then also you had Ndombele not fully fit yet, but still able to put in a pretty good first half shift, at least with Højbjerg. And it all kind of had a recipe of Spurs just kind of taking it to Chelsea. It wasn't like they had a ton of scoring chances, Bucks, just really those two that I listed. But they definitely felt like the better team in that first half. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I thought they looked the better team. But at the same time, if you start Tanguy, and I guess that's it for the good stuff. I mean, I kind of was befuddled by the fact that Kane was playing more on that left wing, but I understand the tactic there because it seemed like Sonny was doing a lot more high pressing and he was a lot more active than what you would have seen from Kane in that same position. So I think that tactic unsettled Chelsea a little bit. They definitely weren't expecting to see that. And it made for some opportunity, but it wasn't enough in the end. My concern is always this with Tanguy, and as well as he played in that first half, you just know there's going to be a portion of that match where he's not doing the little things, the hustle plays, the pressing. You're just going to see him drop off a cliff. And that part, how do we unlock him? Because it seems like he was putting in all the work in the offseason, quote unquote. He looked thinner. I don't think it's a fitness thing. And, you know, Spurs fans out there, I'd love to get your opinions on this at TT Pod Coys on Twitter. It just seems like there are times that test him. And whenever he's tested mentally, physically, he quits. And It can't be a fitness thing. You have to be able to go 90 minutes.
So, wow, you're the one calling him the quitter right now, not me. So just
Yeah.
want that for the recording. Yeah, I guess we're just going to dive into Ndombele right off the bat. I like it because I did not have him as my most disappointing player. I'll get into those two guys shortly, Bucks. But I really think you have to play into match fitness. And then also you have to play into match fitness against probably one of the three best teams in the world. And I think that's what Chelsea is. I feel like it's Bayern Munich, it's Chelsea, it's Man City. I don't even know if PSG's got their shit sorted out yet.
Not yet.
No. And I wouldn't give it to any of the Spanish clubs either. So, I mean, arguably Chelsea, reigning European champions, and also, I mean, just look at their bench, Bucks. I mean, before we start harping on Spurs bench and the fitness of Tanguy Ndombele, I mean, they had Reece James on the bench, they had Chilwell on the bench, they had Hudson-Odoi on the bench. They got to go bring out Havertz, bring in Werner. Mason Mount wasn't doing anything for him at halftime, so let's just bring in N'Golo Kante. Like, think of that sub right there. Mount out for Kante. That's ridiculous. So the fact that that's the reality of the situation is, I think, what we all have to make peace with. Doesn't the score feel a little bit more unjust? I mean, I don't know if we're really crushing a lot of players or the team's performance if it was a 1-0 game. Even a 2-0 game where you'd say that ball was a deflection off Dyer and it was just a freak of nature. It went in. I don't know, man. I just feel like to then make this leap to Ndombele quits, I just think he needs to get into match fitness and form. And look, I'll make peace with the fact if I get good 70 minutes out of Ndombele where he's what he is in the first 20, 30 minutes of this match. If I can get that all the way to 70 minutes, Bucks, and then bring in a Skip, bring in a Lo Celso, bring in someone over there to then shore things up for Ndombele, I think I'll actually take that. Who I was more disappointed with was Dele Alli and then also Reggie. I just feel like Reggie was trying to push forward. He was the plan of attack up the left side, and he had one huge opportunity where he could have put the ball on net against their backup keeper in Kepa or squared to Lo Celso, and I think even at that point, maybe even Dele or Emerson, another guy was running in too, and he just missed that opportunity.
Emerson,
yeah. So those guys I was more disappointed with than Tanguy. I'm willing to wait out on Tanguy getting a little bit more match fitness. Not sure if we see him here in the Carabao Bang Energy Cup, but at the very least, I want to see Ndombele get more of a run where he can build up the match fitness, because that's just a different animal. And then also a match fitness against Kovacic, Jorginho, and then Kante. That's pretty outrageous, as far as like when Chelsea wants to just suffocate the game and throw in those three defensive midfielders to then free up their offensive guys, especially in the second half like they did. That's just, I don't know, that's best in the world, right? I mean, that's tough. So to kind of like, look, no managers, unlocked Tanguy Ndombele yet on Spurs between Poch and Jose and what's his face that came in for 4 games. And then
Ryan Mason, give the man some respect. He's
sorry. And now Nuno. So I just look, no one's going to have the answer overnight. I just think you got to let him play into the team again.
The issue I have, Shakes,
cut him some slack, Bucks. Cut him some slack.
But
point A is my champagne.
It's been 2 years of cutting slack. It's been 2 years of the fact that you have to be able to run for 95 minutes to be able to be an effective player in the Premier League. And if you're not that, starting a match is a hindrance. It is a problem for a team like ours where we are so thin, especially in that midfield with quality players. So you shake your head, but we are that thin, Shakes. We are that
thin. We're thinner in my hair up front, Bucks. But
it's actually looking a little thicker this week. It might be the new
angle. I cut
it
short
here.
And really did some things. Got this conference I'm going to, so I got to put my best face forward. I just think if you're going to ask him to go box to box and then also really try to join in rushes and play the way he plays, he just might not be a 90-minute player. He's not Dele Alli fitness. I get it. He's not like just 10 out of 10 when it comes to his fitness level. But for him to do the type of play that Spurs are asking him to do and really the kind of brand he wants to play, he might just be a player that plays for 75 minutes, hopefully plays his ass off. I still agree he has those lapses, but I think it's more match fitness lapses in the sense that he's just seeing the right thing, but at the same time, not making that right lunge for the ball or just tracking back the way he should. And that just comes with getting your reps out there, out on the pitch. I don't think he's like sucking wind, so to speak. But it's one of those things for him where I think if you can get 75 minutes and then bring in like a Skip after that, or a Højbjerg or a Lo Celso, like picture those four guys rotating some way, shape, or form once you get Steve and Lucas back. If you can still get Ndombele the way he is in his prior two matches, including the first half of this one, I think that's a win for Spurs. Is he still the all-world guy that I thought we were signing? Absolutely not. But I think that ship has sailed. So now we got to make something out of this, Bucks, because as you said, it's thin.
I mean, that's a really good point.
Make peace with the fact he's just one of the subs. I guess that's the way I'm kind of looking at it.
Well, that's my criticism is simply this is our highest paid transfer fee ever. You bring him in, and we're still not seeing that come to a point where no matter what, he's in your 11. He starts. You can depend on him. You can depend on the effort. That part I figured would have been sorted out by where we are currently. This is 2 years and a month and a half of Tanguy and Ndombele, and yet we don't have that player that just is penciled in as a playmaker, as a midfielder that can make sure he's connecting the attack and that back line consistently. And that's my frustration, is that you have to, when you're as thin as we are, you're going to find a cliff at a certain point in that match. And then I feel that when you bring someone on to replace him, it does not help us if we're behind. That's the thing. So my line of thinking would be, okay, like you said, let's figure out where this puzzle piece hits. Let's figure out how we can best make this a successful endeavor for Spurs with Tanguy and Ndombele. I feel that starting with a more defensive-minded player makes a lot more sense, and then bringing Tanguy on for the last 40 or 30 minutes and seeing if we can push on. You don't see that. You'd rather have him start in there like he's going to all of a sudden create goal-scoring opportunities for us.
Yeah, because he does.
Okay.
When he comes in there, he does. Look at the first half of last year's season, Bucks, where he's setting up goals, whether it's against Arsenal or Man City, whoever. So it's just, I think the way it needs to be done, it sucks because it's like Ndombele, we all think is not giving us whatever like that 100% output is. So it's like, here we are trying to build this team around him, but I think he's that talented. I mean, if you asked me, I had to start or sit one of these two guys, Dele or Ndombele, I'm starting Ndombele over Dele. What I saw from Dele is he's got a work rate if he uses it, but he kind of wandered around basically for all of 90 minutes. Like he just unfortunately didn't do anything. And to compare Chelsea with Spurs, just reality, it's like, well, Tuchel got to then bring in Conte for Mason Mount, who wasn't doing anything, just like Dele wasn't. Dele had to play the whole game because Spurs didn't really have an answer to do something else. We had to take Ndombele off and put Skip in for him. We had really no other midfielders that would help out in that situation. So that's the reality. Mount and Dele both didn't play well. Conte got to come in for Mount. That sucks for us, but that's what it is. So I look at it this way, Bucks. If there's probably one of two ways. I was thinking about this on my drive over to the hotel. There's one of two ways to put Ndombele in the best way to succeed. Whether that means Spurs succeed, I don't know, but I think we should try it. It's either you play him further up in a 4-3-3 and you have Skip and Højbjerg behind him. That gives him more freedom to look forward. He can come back if he wants to and get the ball and start possession that way if it's a team that's not going to have possession against Spurs. In the case of Chelsea, though, you give him cover because now he's not the most defensive-minded guy, whereas Højbjerg and Skip are far more defensive-minded. The other way to do it is you play a back three as far as like three defensive center halves go, and that's like what Chelsea does. That's what a lot of other good teams do. I hated going to a back three, but I'm starting to talk myself more into it because I think Romero's good. I thought Romero, before he cramped up and had to get subbed out, actually was Spurs' best player.
I agree. Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I don't care how we flank him. If you want to put Sanchez on the right and then Dyer on the left or Davis on the left, whatever. I just think if you're going to do that and you're going to give more cover to the back line, sit Skip in front of them or Højbjerg in front of them, go back three, add Højbjerg, add Skip, one of those two guys, I mean, and then from there you can play Ndombele a little bit further up the pitch as well. But that's how you make Ndombele, in my mind, succeed better at Spurs. Does that translate to wins? I don't know, but I think I'm ready to try that out because I don't really feel like the teams looked all that great doing a 4-3-3 with Skip and Hoiberg and Dele. And I think it just boils down to this, Bucks. I'd rather just start Ndombele over Dele. That's really where it comes down to. If one of those players that you're considering to be, more of the playmaker needs to be out there, but you can't play both at once, which ended up being true here today at least, or Sunday. I just think it's Ndombele. I'd rather take my chances with that, even though I know I'm only getting 70 minutes out of him.
Well, I feel like starting Dele and then having a 1-to-1 swap out for Tanguy in the second half makes more sense. Less wear and tear on Dele, a totally different look for opposition management, and you go out there and you see if Tanguy can get a goal towards the back line of this match. I mean, it's frustrating, man.
Here's why I disagree.
Okay.
Hold on. Why I disagree on that is I think Ndombele is a player that does have to grow into the game. I get it. Like you're thinking he's going to burn out quicker than Dele, but if I'm asking for 70 minutes of Ndombele, I think him having a longer chance to put his stamp on the game is more impactful than Dele. Also, Dele can be subbed in for other players. Ndombele is a holding midfielder. That's just what it is. And he can move forward a little bit, but he belongs in the center of the pitch, whereas Dele could come in as like a left-sided winger, another attacker if Spurs need to get an extra goal, a second striker, a 10. Dele's got a little bit more, I think at least, like functionality where he can play in different positions. So I'd rather have Dele on the bench to see what I need and then pull him in from there. And I just still think Ndombele is just better on the ball and just is more what Spurs need as far as creativity in the middle of the park. That's where Spurs need. We don't need Kane dropping back to midfield every effing time, Bucks. That's the problem.
Do you think that Dele is more like Salma Hayek, a six-tool player?
No, I don't. I think he wants to be. And look, I actually think Dele's been sacrificing for the greater good. The guy used to be like second striker, 10, played on the left wing. He was always around the net. Spurs had possession. He's just doing his flicks and tricks and finishing and cleaning up goals and setting up players. He had a bunch of assists his first 3 years in the league. Now we're asking him to be more of like a box-to-box midfielder, and he's trying to do it. It's just, look, we have Ndombele on the team already. Let's just go with the better player at that position. That's Tanguy Ndombele.
I think
go ahead.
Dele needs two fullbacks that actually provide some sort of attack. He thrives on that because that's where he finds his pockets. That's where he's able to make sure that he's at that. What have we always said about Dele, Shakes? Get him on the corner of the box and see what he does with it. That's when he gets so creative. And in this new setup, he's not getting it much there. He's just not. And so things have been rough. He needs somebody to overlap him, someone to take a defender off so he can try to make things happen. So I was disappointed with Dele as well on Sunday, but he's probably run so ragged by this point. How can you really blame him? I blame the approach was actually sound by Nuno. I don't blame Nuno. Right? It looked like we had a decent plan to unsettle Chelsea. It's just they were able to go to the garage and pull out a bunch of nice steamrollers to absolutely crush us in that second half. And we brought out, like a VW Beetle, 1966.
Honestly, Bucks, I can't believe I'm
four-banger engine.
Yeah. Steamrollers, Ferraris, whatever you want to call them. They were
steamrollers, not Ferraris.
Yeah, I guess content. I mean, the other thing too, I know Dele's getting shit for not closing out Thiago, but Thiago also made a great play on that ball. And really, Spurs, if they just put someone along the far post, they just block that ball out too. So I'm not really going to kill Dele on the corner situation. I just think we're asking Dele to play a position that he's admirably trying to meet. I just think Ndombele would do it better. And I just think the route is, Bucks, you just either give him the cover of Hoiberg, Skip together, or you play a back three so that if you want to, you can at times shoot up your fullbacks and hopefully get that space in the middle of the park for Ndombele to work as well. Just give him cover again of another defensive mid. So I just think that's the way Spurs got to attack, because I unfortunately do not have the belief in Dele in a 4-3-3. In fact, I think I'd almost start Lo Celso over Dele in a 4-3-3. The more I think about it, I know Lo Celso gets shit And it's like, look, he hasn't delivered, he's been hurt. But I mean, when you think of like the through balls played, like he had the one to Son. I know he got his pocket picked in the second goal for Chelsea in the buildup. I mean, goddamn, that was pretty. I don't know. To me, it was bad luck. I mean, deflects off Dyer and goes in, and also the ball could have got closed out better. I even think the Conte shot on net wasn't even going to be on net. So I know Lo Celso's getting shit for that, but Lo Celso at the very least can play forward-looking passes. He's not Eriksson, but if I could play him on the left side of a 4-3-3 or even play him on the wing side like he did today, probably not against a Chelsea, but against a team that you'd have more possession, I just feel like I like him there more too. So I'm back to my old ways, Bucks. Unfortunately, it's where I've come full circle, where I'm just trying to find a way to get Dele out of our starting 11. I feel terribly about it. I just don't know, like, if we have the setup right now to fit his best talents. Whereas I'm willing to try it for Ndombele, and then I also just think Lo Celso gives me more options as well, whether he plays more back, holding, or Lo Celso's up a little bit more forward as an inverted winger.
Just when I thought you had turned the corner, just when I thought you were reborn as a Dele supporter, someone that believed in the player, you go and you do this. You do everything in your power to get him out of the lineup, Shakes. And to be quite honest with you, I am not surprised. I knew this is what you were. I knew you were a snake. You were always a snake when it comes to Dele. And the fact is, you want GLC in there for Dele now. I think you're talking crazy. Not yet, man. We got to see it come together for GLC. We have to. And that's the problem. The players we brought in for these higher price tags over the last 3 seasons, let's be completely clear, have not worked out. It's the gutty guys. It is the real gutty fellas that have worked out.
The shots fired at your boy Hitchin right now? Is this why the rat got brought in?
I mean, it's not exactly a shot at Hitchin, but I guess it's a –
And really a shot at Poch. None of Poch's guys have really worked out. Let's be real. Sorry, Poch. You're
what's
good
sad
on the projects when the players are there, but apparently you bringing in guys like Sissoko and – anyway, go ahead.
What's sad is we've seen glimpses of greatness from these guys. We've seen moments where you're like, oh, my goodness. But then when it really matters, it just doesn't come good for Spurs. And that is so disappointing. I am a Dele evangelist. I support Dele, Dan. And I really think the players there, it's just – yeah, Dele evangelist. That's a pretty good one.
Question, though.
Yeah, so Alex's question here. In a lineup of these players that we had out there, do you think Lo Celso and Dele should have swapped positions? Gio in the middle, Dele up higher.
So I would have at first agreed with this. However, it dawned on me, if we're going to play this game where Kane is another midfielder and just comes back all the time, the smarter players that make good runs right now, I mean, Son's can always make a run. Kane can find him. But it did seem to make sense because Lo Celso kind of knew how to work with Kane a little bit as far as making runs or finding a pocket and then picking out a run himself. I don't know if that's the way Spurs should always want to play. Like, I get it worked under the Jose era for Kane's stats, but I don't know if it really worked for the team itself. Kane sitting all the way back, and we're watching him basically take Dele's old position away from Dele anyway. So you got your boy Kane making Dele obsolete because he's the one that wants to play all the way back, Bucks. I actually was okay with Lo Celso after the game started up because at first I was like, man, that might be a mistake. I wonder if Dele's just going to be up further than Lo Celso. But then sure enough, Lo Celso was up further, and I'm sure it's because Nuno thought there was more creativity by Lo Celso in the final third. And then also when Kane dropped back, he trusted Lo Celso to fill those gaps or holes or pockets or make the right run. Whereas Dele, he just wanted to see further back up. And again, that goes back to what I was just saying is if we're going to just make Dele then a holding midfielder or make him in a 4-3-3 where he's playing more in the center of the park, then I'd just rather have Ndombele and Skip out there instead of him.
No, you make good points. And I hear you. I'm just giving you shit in terms of
I know Dele's your boy. It just feels like the way the team plays, unfortunately, right now, Bucks, it's just not working out for him.
I just need more boys. I need somebody I can latch on to.
What do you think of the back three? Like, I'm watching Chelsea play it, and they're just shooting up Alonso constantly against Spurs.
I don't think we have the talent on the wings. I don't think we have the talent for wing
I
backs
think
at
you
all.
have Reggie that's more confident as a wing back. You'll have I don't know if Emerson would be, but also like you could play Doherty maybe as a better backup because is used to being a wing back, and then you have Sessegnon that could be a better backup. So depth wise, it seems to like fit that way better for Spurs if that
I
formation was in
agree.
place. But then
Yeah,
it's like you're back to this whole game of like, all right, I'm pulling in a center back instead of my midfielder. It's just maybe that's kind of what Spurs need to do if they trust Romero that much. Where Romero's kind of exotic, man. You're watching him like shoot up, like joining the rush. You're watching him like stay up after a set piece. He's like still there, like in the offensive zone. Like if you're gonna get more of that, and it's like kind of letting Romero cook, maybe we should give him the cover, just like I want to give Ndombele the cover. So that's why now the back three intrigues me more, Bucks, because it's something we haven't seen yet that might get better results out of, in my opinion, our next two best players after Kane and Son. It'd be Ndombele and Romero.
I'm with you. I mean, hopefully they can turn it around. It's still early in this season, 5 matches in. Hopefully we're going to win the papajohns.com UEFA Europa
When's
Conference
That's back
League.
next week because we got
I
Wolves
believe it's
tomorrow.
next week. Wolves tomorrow. We're not spending a second of time on the Wolves match tomorrow. Not 1 second. And all the supporters out there, all the supporters that want to sit there and say we need to gun for a trophy, blah, 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 blah. Let's go for the papajohns.com. Let's see what we have with papajohns.com. I'd rather gun for that than gun for the Carabao Bang Energy. I don't care about it. In fact, with how depleted our roster looks at this current juncture, I don't want us to even throw anybody out there. I know we will. Thankfully, we have 4 days of recovery prior to the Arsenal match on Sunday. So that's all good. Maybe we can rotate in. We try to gun for it. I just think these players already, we are a month and a half in, Shakes, and they look tired. They all look tired.
That's a good point. We're on the eve of the North London derby. So
yeah, if we lose to Arsenal,
sacrifice it. Just no one be pissed off if we lose to Wolves.
Listen, I don't care either way. Last year, you and I were gung ho, Bang Energy. We wanted it. We needed it because it was the only angle we saw. So of course we wanted to go for it. But I don't see it that way this year. All right, we have a quick show tonight, folks. So we do apologize. Shakes, you able to record a little later after prior to Arsenal this week at all? I know this is live, but what's going on?
Let's talk this through. Checking my calendar. I think Friday morning I might be able to have a window for you. Or
that works for me.
Maybe even Thursday night. We'll figure this
Both
out.
work.
Mrs. Shakes might be mad at you. I just get back that day, but I gotta like help with the kids at some point.
Shakes might be mad at me.
No, Mrs. Shakes.
Oh, sure.
Because you monopolize all my time.
I do. I mean, it's a skill of mine. It's one of my only skills, in fact. All right, we got to get to listener questions. No man of the match. You all deserve nothing.
No, my man of the match was Hugo, and then Romero.
Okay,
that's about it.
That's good.
No third spot.
Spurs are 20th in XG. Alex Asher points that out.
Nice.
We're going to make you proud. Or no, this is not. We're going to make you proud. Tottenham DNA to dare is to do. 20th, last in the league in XG. 4.42 XG after 5 games.
How many goals do Spurs have? 3 or 4?
I don't even know anymore.
They have 3, 1-0. 1. Yeah, 3. So, wow, we're at least underperforming our XG.
I don't even know anymore. Kane's not scoring. Son got hurt. Son's
Kane
trying
needs
to battle
move up
back.
more. I know that's been like a thing talked about. I'm kind of over the Kane experience in midfield. I know he wants to get the ball, and he can do it every once in a while, Bucks, but that doesn't need to be the tactic. Let's start playing something different. 3-4-3, shoot these fullbacks up, try to push Ndombele up, and then that means Kane, get near the box. Like center backs in the Prem are getting more touches in their opponent's box than you are.
There's more to talk about with Kane. We have a question relating to that we'll dive into. This is from Nathan Keller here. Shakes, When do we start to panic?
When does the Arsenal game end? Like
Approximately
1:25 p.m. Eastern New York time.
1:20. Yeah.
Yeah. After that result, perhaps we would be that's when I would allow people to start to panic if that result did not work out the way it should. And actually, not even the way it should, Bucks, the way it could. And maybe will. I haven't even checked the lines. I'm scared to even check the betting lines.
I don't want to check the betting lines. I think it is panic time. I don't like what I've seen.
Yet. Let's get bounced from a trophy or from a campaign first, and then lose at Arsenal, and then at that point I would say, yeah, it's time to hit the panic button.
I don't feel good through 5 matches. I feel really bad. 3 goals, that's not going to get it done. Kane looking disinterested. That'll all looks bad. I'm close to panicking. I'm very close, Shakes. It wouldn't take much. It would take like a leaf falling on my shoulder on a walk to make me panic right now.
That's why I'm pitching this wackier shit. Like, let's give Ndombele cover to move forward and play a back 3, because this is obviously not working.
Is this Shakes trying to shake him up right now? Is this the segment called Shake Him Up?
It's called Shake Up. That's what it's called.
Shake Up, brought to you by Shake Shack. Little do you folks know that Danny Shakes started Shake Shack. So if you've enjoyed a burger, some cheese fries, one of the fantastic peanut butter milkshakes there, that's all from this man's brain. You didn't know that, but you know it now. And by him sponsoring his own segment, there's a bit of antitrust law in there that, we're kind of skirting over.
I don't know if I get the tax deductions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way for him to funnel. I mean, it's a test. It's just a test of funneling the funds. That's all.
All talking Tottenham is just one big shell game.
Like right now, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, how can I push this in? And how do I write this off? And that's why I respect and love you, Shakes. Because you're always looking for the angle, just like you're trying to shake them up, trying to figure out how we best fit. I'm not in panic mode yet, but I have to say, after that Sunday game, I was completely disinterested, and that was the part that really bothered me. So this one here is this one's from Savino. Serious question. Is it time to bench Harry Kane? Temporarily, of course. Whoa, no.
Sorry, did I react poorly there?
Well, not that you reacted poorly, just very abruptly. Temporarily, of course, does he need to get his head right, or is this just the usual beginning of season slow start for Kane? What are your thoughts on Kane?
I think it's just the beginning of seasons, Bucks, as I'm standing up trying to plug this damn thing in. This Ritz is like the most poorly planned. Hang on.
Tell me your true feelings here.
Well, it's just like there's no thought process. People need outlets. And I can't move it because this thing's bolted down. All right. Hold on.
What else don't you like about the room, Shakes?
It's outdated. The champagne sucked. So
did it really suck?
I got you now, Bucks. And we're plugged in.
Okay,
so
good.
I disagree. I think Kane does start slow. That's just what happens. If Kane goes on big-ass runs. And you're not going to at all sit him for the North London derby. Like, if you really want to alienate your best player, I guess you could do that. But I just think that's just not the play, especially when already there's some tension going on between player and club. And we want Kane on our side because it's a long-ass season. As Everton Jordan, our boy, always says, the season is long.
The season is long. The season is long. But what else is long is a goalless streak. You need Kane to be hitting in bangers in the Premier League. If it takes a wake-up call, I'm all for it. The problem is, how do you bench him? Because Son
are you bringing in? Yeah.
Son is banged up, and you can't afford to have Son go down, so you can't run him into the ground. Your options at wing right now are GLC, who's not really a wing. You have Heel, who is very young, very unproven, and can be just tossed aside by the majority of right backs in the Prem. There are not many options with Steve and Lucas hurt. So the walking boot Steve, God bless you, get well, but that's not good for us. Lucas going down was a big deal. And hopefully the sooner he gets back, the better we can get. But we are in dire straits. It's not the time for me to bench him, but I won't lie to you, Savino. It's been on my mind. It has been on my mind just because this isn't the same Kane, Shakes. And I see that coy look on your face. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
Here's the thing. You can't bench him right now because of the injuries. So if you're saying we have the same team from Man City, where it's Son, Lucas, and Steve like running riot for basically it's just counterattack ball only. Not really probably the ball that Spurs want to play, but just that seemed the most effective in their best game this year against Man City. I see the world that you live in to then call for Kane not to start. It's just in this situation, Bucks, with everyone hurt, you can't do it. And I just think by the time you get everyone back, Kane's going to be scoring again anyway. I don't know if he needs to be played back into fitness, so maybe he does start in the Carabao Bang Energy tomorrow at Wolves. But, I mean, I want him fresh for the North London derby. That's just what I want. So he's your best all-world player. He is not scoring, I think, because he is not getting the service, not because he's disinterested. And I think it's more that still. I would need to see a lot more to not start him.
I'm starting Kane. You got to go down with your best players. I mean, if we continue to fail,
that's my argument.
So be it.
Starting Ndombele and sitting Dele, you got to put out your best players.
If he continues to underproduce, then yeah, he fooled us for 7 years, right? Like he just fooled us. So I don't think that's the case. I will remain patient on the Kane situation, but it is something that is concerning to me.
And I don't, Savino is my boy. I love him. Didn't mean to scoff at your question because I understand the thought process. I do get, like how that's crept into people's mind. Like, I mean, what are we even doing with this guy out here? What's it even matter? So I get that. And that sucks that's the situation we're in. Because I don't really remember that against the Jose era Bucks. At least we had Kane firing on all cylinders, leading the league in assists and goals.
And then falling apart everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah. This one is a bit morbid, but the question was asked. This is from our guy, Ian. It looks like we might have to start doing human sacrifices to bring on some good luck. Who on the squad is sacrificed first?
Well, we went into this with Dust Till Dawn.
I'm going to go Doherty.
Yeah, I was going to say Doherty. I don't like talking this way. This means like
I don't like it either. But I mean, the question was posed.
If Winks disappeared and Spurs started playing better, I think we all get over it sooner. No, I'm kidding. I don't like these questions, and I got to run soon, Bucks.
I know. We got 2 more questions here, and then we'll wrap.
All right. So aside from sacrificing players, what else do we got?
This from Alex. Will we ever see attacking football under Nuno? Because Jose's ultra defensive looked pretty good with the goal scoring last year, 3rd in the league, and we have 3 goals in 5 games right now.
Who is this from?
Alex Asher.
Alex, our boy, who's tuned in right now. Alex, I would say tune in Thursday, September 30th, where Spurs host Murrah, and you will see some attacking ball. Other than that, Villa, Newcastle, maybe October 21st. Mark your calendar against Vitesse. And then you gotta go wild.
Think,
yeah. Then you gotta go into November. So there's about 2 matches, Alex, that yes, you will see some attacking ball by Spurs.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see us running and gunning out there at all.
I mean, unless you do my shake it up 3-4-3 idea, Skip or Hoiberg in front of the back 3, and then let Ndombele cook.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Alex
and Romero.
If Nuno makes it to October,
that's right.
Off. Yeah, you lose to Arsenal. So, all right, let's say we get shellacked tomorrow, and then 2-0 at Arsenal on Sunday. You have to start thinking Nuno doesn't find his way to
Spurs
October.
Who are Spurs
Graham Potter. Graham Potter.
You think he's going to leave mid-season?
Hell yeah.
God, now his beard is even better than Nuno's.
I know.
That was the one thing we had.
Yeah, we had the beard.
Yeah. Now
we had the beard, and now we don't have the beard.
This all fucking sucks. Like now, this is like a downer. I am so mad that we're doing this podcast right now, Bucks. I've like kind of let go of the Chelsea game, and here we are on the
I
eve
think
of it. Can all change though. Never know. Just pull the upset at Wolves. The
as weird
upset.
as it sounds, the three at the back, I think would be a positive movement for our attack, but I don't think that is it. We're not setting up to attack. Just like Chelsea doesn't set up to attack. Chelsea just plays good and they have world-class players and they have a bunch of them on the bench. And we're sitting over here. We got the bad news Bears, the bad news Spurs. We look like garbage. We don't look fun. Nobody's having fun. I'm certainly not having fun. The only person having fun right now is Linda and her wallet, and it's getting huge. And she has extra purses now because I am just loading her up with cash. Okay? That's all I do, Shakes. I sit and my microphone falls. I sit and I vent to Linda, and she laughs all the way to the bank. She probably goes home every single week and talks to whoever it is she talks to on a personal basis and sits there and laughs, and she drinks wine, and she's not supportive. But then the next week, she's back in the office and she's sitting there with me and she's all happy again and she's trying to be helpful. But I know what you're doing, Linda. You're doing this to Spurs. You're doing this to me, and we will talk again tomorrow. But that's beside the point, Shakes. We need to get through this. It's very tough and you have dinner plans. And I'm just telling Linda, I'm on to your shit.
Well, once you switch insurance carriers and you're paying out of pocket, Bucks, it's a problem.
Been out of pocket this whole time, Shakes. All right. Settle down, Buck. Your pills? Okay. We all feel the pain. This is from our guy, Graham. We all feel the pain. Nuno can't have a reliable game plan with disinterested players who lack motivation. They appear devoid of a plan, but also leadership. I totally agree on the leadership front here.
Graham Potter's trolling us now?
No, this is my buddy Graham.
No, I know. Hey,
what does Nuno need to change? What does Nuno need to do to change the mentality? Or is it just poor coaching, fitness, or simply a lack of top-class ability? One change for Nuno. Is it back three for you just to see if it works a little better,
just to see if we can then sit someone else in front of the back three, let Romero go and let Ndombele go. Let's try it out. It's an unfortunate run of games, Bucks. Let's be real. We can also maybe point to the bullshit that was the Argentina, Brazil bull crap that led to almost the incarceration of three of our players and then quarantine, rash of injuries. It's not this bad always, so we can look at it that way. I know Spurs are down, 6-goal deficit last two games, one against Crystal Palace, and then one just an ass-kicking at home to Chelsea, but it might get better once players get healthier, players get match fit, and you have a full slate to work with. So let's just give him a little bit more time. I don't hate the Nuno experience. I really don't. I feel like he does have the locker room. I worry, though, would he still have the locker room after a few more losses? Just give it a little bit more time. That's all I got. But then, change that damn tactic because it's just not fucking working.
Try something different. Just have a little fun. And if it fails, it can't look worse than the last two matches in London derbies. Those are London derbies where we got killed 3-1 or 3-0.
I will say this, Spurs played pretty well in that first half, so there might be something to build off there. I get it. Like Chelsea is just a machine and just got to replace one steamroller with another. So maybe there's something to build off of with the way Spurs attacked and pressed a little bit more. And it's all about having, though, the reserves in place, because I get it. Like when you're pulling out an attacking player or a pressing player, and you have to, unfortunately, Heel will be good for Spurs, but he's 18 years old running around there right now. If you don't have Lucas, you don't have Steve, that's troublesome, and you don't have Son full tilt, and then you have a lackluster Harry Kane. It's just maybe you can kind of build off that tactic where Spurs did look better. It's just making sure you can fit the personnel behind them so that it's not like it just disappears after 55 minutes.
I think it comes from the players. So my disappointment is not so much with Nuno, Graham. It's more so the players. The one vocal on the pitch player, so not Hugo, is Højbjerg, and that's it. Nobody else is getting in others' ears. And I know Dyer hurt, whatever. So it's rough, but he comes back and I'm sorry. He's not vocal enough. These guys have to hold folks accountable. They have to. And it's every one of them that needs to hold each other accountable to keep gunning for it. Keep going. Even when you have a disappointing mild run through the game, you have to stay focused and you have to stay brutal. Part of this game is being a brutal competitor. I don't see enough brutality. I want more deaths on the field. I'm kidding. But I want to see people going for it, really gunning it. And whatever that takes, it's man to man. It's every single player on that pitch holding their teammates accountable. I see it as more of an on the field problem, Graham, than an off the field problem. The team, when shit doesn't go right, does not react well. And if you can't react to one goal, which it would have taken for you to win the match either way, you hold that to the players. If you can't bounce back after one goal on a set piece, a play we've seen so many times before, it's haunted us for 4 managers. Set piece goals, especially from the left edge. Doesn't matter if it's a corner, doesn't matter if it's by the byline, does not matter. They will get it in from a set piece on the left side. That's been our problem for years. The players on the field are the ones that need to figure out how to mark their men. The players on the field need to be the ones holding each other accountable when goals happen. The name of the game is scoring goals. Chelsea will score goals on you. They are very good. One of the best teams in the world, as you talked about earlier. If you can't bounce back from 1-0 off a set piece goal, instead you just give up, that's the players. That's not the manager, man, because the manager doesn't make it move on that field.
I mean, remember when Spurs used to start Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, Moussa Dembele, and Hugo? Nobody fucked with us when we had those guys on the field. Nobody fucked with us. No one. And that's just not there. That's just not there. There's just no fire. There's no anger.
There's no sack. Sackless.
We need to work on obtaining sack again, Bugs.
Yep. That's the only thing we have in us. It's the only thing we have in us. All right, Danny Shakes, I know you got a big business dinner you got to attend to here.
Close some deals, Bugs.
Put on your best cummerbund and make sure you look good.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, folks. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at TTPodCoys. We'll get another episode out prior to the Arsenal match. And Danny Shakes, best of luck to you. Sign the people off.
Let's go. Let's do some things in the Carabao Bang Energy Cup. Beat Wolves. And we'll talk to you all before Arsenal, North London Derby. Believe. Come on, you Spurs!
Coys, get it done. Beat Wolves.